For a long time, the real estate sector has been one of the fastest growing sectors in this country. Now, that explains why many actually chose to join it. And today, our entrepreneur is a player within this particular sector. He's sharing with us his journey as a player here, but then also tips on how you can build your own houses for those that are nursing ambitions.
I'm by the names of Seg2, and I'm the general manager of a company called Seg2 Steel Limited. Now when you talk about steel, people say, what kind of steel fabricators? So for example, is a company that makes iron sheets, chain link, expanded metal lath, stroke engalama, for basically the finishing ends of a house. What inspired me, my grandfather was called Seg2 also. There used to be a company called Sembule. So growing up, I used to have a company called Sembule. So for me, in my heart, I grew up knowing the company. It was in the blood and just became a passion of mine. So I just ended up pursuing it naturally. Our target market is everyone, wholesale, retail, walk-in customers. What sets us apart is, let me say, first of all, number one, I think it would be affordability. Because how things are right now, I think the main goal for someone purchasing or a customer for us would be how affordable can we be to them. Because for them it would be cheap. If it's cheap for them, it would be good for us. It would increase the market. If you want, for example, iron sheets. Iron sheets come in different sizes because we also build in different sizes. So first, if you want 3 meters, you can cut for 3 meters. If you want 2 meters, you can cut 2 meters. Instead of buying a whole sheet, then you cut it and on the other end you're not using it. And also, there's a new product we have, which is a plain sheet. A plain sheet, first we call it CRC sheet. For those who are going to use clay tiles, stroke, amategula, you can lay it on top because those sheets tend to be expensive. Now first, we cut almost the price in half. And also those sheets can also be used for pillars. If you purchase from us to reduce your costs, there's a new type of iron sheet we have, which we use for hoarding. Hoarding is these iron sheets you see where there's a construction site and they are covering the site. Now we also cut that price in half. You can get that iron sheet and cover, even though you're not going to use it now, it will help reduce the price significantly. Also with chain link, you can do whatever length or height you want. For example, the normal height is 6 feet. But in case, let me say you're farming, how things are now, and you want to do goat farming. Goat farming, you don't need a chain link fence of 6 feet. You can also do a chain link fence of 4 feet. 4 feet is enough for goats, which will reduce your costs. First, our governing principles to stay afloat would be, I think there are 2 major principles. It would be, number one, quality. Because quality you give the customer matters a lot. Because if you give a customer something bad and comes back after 3 months, no, that's not good. But if you give him and he refers, then you're selling to one customer, you end up getting 3 customers. Instead of selling quickly to one customer and losing out in other potential buyers. Number 2 would be customer care. First, we value highly our customer care because customer is number one. Our customers, even though you come and ask anyone in the factory, they'll answer you properly with the correct price. Get our raw materials from, 1, we import some of them, and 2, it's also good to support a local supplier, which also support local suppliers such as roofing rolling mills and East African roofing systems. For the challenges, I would say it would be the dollar rate. Because for how the economy is, if the raw materials are expensive outside and you bring them here and you have the taxes, so it ends up increasing the price, and when a customer comes back, the customer will still ask you, we were just here 3 months ago, but why has the price increased? So the fluctuating dollar rates is a big factor. Now to solve that, like I said, customer care. If you sit the customer down properly and explain this, and this, the customer can understand and say yes. And if you also explain and say, you go and ask, inquire other prices elsewhere and they inquire, that also helps them to come back and know you're cheaper than everyone else. Another problem we face would be production costs. Production costs being electricity, but also there's also transport costs. There are increasing fuel prices every day. I think everyone can see that. But now, what we can do for fuel costs, quality, always keep the quality. Even though things increase, as long as you keep the quality, people always keep coming back. Some of the achievements, one would be maybe socio-economic responsibility, whereby if we grow, we also let our community grow. Whereby, for example, you can hold a soccer game and invite your neighbors, host it, sponsor, play, everyone has fun. Unemployment is a big issue around the country. So for us, employing people, or generally people around us, helps to give us a good feeling, and also gender balance is something we take very seriously. What we did, we started with iron sheets, but we kept on increasing our products slowly by slowly. So I think diversity in our product range is also an achievement. Our number one goal is for expansion. We'd like to expand our base, our product range to East Africa.
I remember I almost failed the university because by my third year I'd started programming and selling software, and what was being taught in class was very irrelevant. So if I'm to go back to my university, to my secondary, to my primary, and ask myself what would that my school have done any better, I think we need to adopt apprenticeships and internships at all levels at school, in the education sector. Someone doesn't have to reach university to be able to do intern. Okay? While I'm in nursery, while I'm in primary, while I'm in secondary, while I'm in university, we should have opportunities to experience and to see what we are learning. If we are learning crop rotation, okay, take me to Kawanda for some days. Let me experience it myself. Let me see what I'm learning in practice. If I'm learning a business course, throw me in Chikubo as coursework for a month, and let me give you output based on my experience. So I think one way we really can improve our education sector and the output of graduates from our education sector is by adding more experiential learning to our theoretical learning processes.
With the tough economic times, it's important for us to pay attention to practices and technologies that can help us save energy during production. Take a look.
So here, this section is a spinning department preparatory stage where cotton first reaches. Now in this section, you can see that we have changed lights in order to save energy. We changed from 53 fluorescent tubes to 28 watts in this particular department. And another thing you can see in this section, we changed the forklifts. Before, we could use the waste was too much in this particular department, whereby we could use again more energy to put it back into into the system. You get me? But now we are using rechargeable forklifts such that you can find that we emit limited waste in this particular department of spending. Yeah, we have done some other interventions. For example, if you go in weaving department, we have changed. We had more than 100 machines, but they all sold off, and we brought few, I think they're around 20-something or 27 machines, but they are serving the similar purpose. But you can find these ones are doing the same work. They are consuming less power as compared to the other ones. 100 were consuming a lot of power as compared to these ones, which were bought, I think, like 2 years back. You can find that these ones are consuming less power, in the weaving department. And another thing, in this particular section, we have tried to work on water leakages. Before, we had many leakages of water, and we were using a lot of energy to pump that water from the pump house. But you can find that we have worked on some leakages. So even the energy we are using to pump that water is somehow minimized or reduced at a particular point.
We've come to the end of this week's edition of Money and Markets. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. To the crew behind the camera, thank you so much for making this production possible. For now, good night.